After the most recent ADCC and seeing Gordon Ryan's domination, not many people would argue with you if you said that he's now the best grappler that ever existed. He cemented his place in history after becoming the only person to ever compete in his weight division and the super fight in the same year, let alone to win them both, easily. The person he was facing in that super fight was none other than Andre Galvao, an IBJJF Hall of Famer and two-time ADCC champion himself, and he made it look effortless. In the eyes of many at just 27, Gordon has wiped out anyone and everyone in his generation, and would arguably beat anyone in the generations before him. Well, maybe everyone except one man. Roger Gracie is a 10-time IBJJF World Champion, 2-time ADCC champion, and is the only person ever to win his weight and the absolute with 100% submission percentage. Oh yeah, and he's never been submitted. With Roger being 14 years older than Gordon and having retired a long time ago, it's almost certainly not going to be a match that we see happen, which as fans we're just going to have to come to terms with. But we can certainly take some guesses as to what might have happened. Gordon's total record stands at 92 wins and 5 losses, with 1 loss coming via submission to Felipe Pena, a loss he recently avenged. Roger's total record stands at 76 wins and 7 losses, all losses coming via points or advantages. Both guys have around an 80% submission percentage, which is incredible. Gordon's highest percentage submission is the rear naked choke, whereas Roger's is the choke from the back, mainly because Roger has a lot more fights in the gi. Gordon has 5 ADCC titles to Roger's 2, and Roger has 10 IBJJF titles to Gordon's 2. There are a lot of similarities between these two greats. Firstly, they're both credited with an exceptional work ethic and are always reportedly working harder than everyone else in the room.
So yeah, going back to Gordon, what do you think makes that guy so good?
His dedication, the way he trains, and how much he trains.
They've both completely dominated their generations.
In gi grappling, no gi grappling, Roger dominated his generation to a degree that is truly impressive.
And they both have an unrelenting desire to win by submission. The differences between the two are a little more telling. Roger is largely credited in dominating in all aspects of his jiu-jitsu. Not only did he win 10 gi world titles, but he had the ability to win everything in or out of the gi, which he proved in dramatic fashion when he won his division and the absolute at ADCC, all via submission, which is a feat that even Gordon Ryan hasn't been able to accomplish yet. He also came out of retirement to beat the best of the generation after him, in Marcus Almeida, or better known as Buchecha, a 13-time IBJJF World Champion. He submitted him in around 7 minutes and then rode back off into retirement. As much as Gordon flirts with putting on a gi and commencing his IBJJF domination, we're yet to see it, and until we do, we'd have to assume Roger would win a gi matchup between the pair pretty comfortably. But this is where it gets interesting. Gordon has shown the most dominance of any grappler in the no-gi scene ever, and he's still only 27. He's unbeaten in 48 matches and no one has ever looked remotely close to beating him since 2018. Roger also even admits himself that the no-gi game has dramatically evolved since he was competing.
I think the no-gi is relatively new, the no-gi scene. There wasn't a scene before. When I was competing, no-gi was just ADCC. There's nothing else. You cannot be called a no-gi fighter fighting once every 2 years.
In particular with the rise of the Danaher Death Squad and their use of leg attacks, which Gordon is a master at and was a neglected part of the sport in Roger's time.
I think with the footlocks, with the no-gi, if you think of, used to be seen as a really bad thing to attack the foot. What's the main goal of fighting? The main goal is to dominate you. And footlocks, I don't require any domination on you.
So based on that, we'd probably have to assume that Gordon would win without the gi. But the truth is, we don't know what would happen, and we're never going to find out. But we should all be grateful that they both exist and have held the torch for generations of jiu-jitsu practitioners behind them.